So if we start with IT infrastructure, the bottom layer, what trends and what changes do I see happening there in the last 2 years, and what I see happening in the future? Well, we focus or my area of expertise is mainly companies between 25, 50 to 500, 600 people. And the first thing we do when we do a 3-year digital transformation change with the customer is to actually outsource that layer 100% completely. So we don't want people internally in the company, IT managers or other people, to spend time on the bottom layer. Why? The bottom layer is not something that's specific to the business of the customer. If you're a construction company, or if you're a lawyer, or if you're a software developer, this IT infrastructure at the bottom is for 90 to 95% the same for everyone. That's my point of view. Everybody needs email, everybody needs documents, everybody needs telephony and video conferencing, and everybody needs to host certain workloads on top of the servers if it's not SaaS. But this is not really a business-specific focus. It's totally different with the layer on top of that, the layer of business applications. For example, if you roll out an ERP for a construction agency, it's a totally different business model than if you do it for a PSA, professional service organization, such as a lawyer firm or an accountancy firm. So in the bottom layer, for me, it's about scalability, about scale. The trick for an IT partner is to standardize that bottom layer as much as possible and have it the same way of operation for all their customers, or for as much as possible of their customers, because that allows them to manage this layer in a much more efficient way, a much more predictable way, and let's say a less cost or much more cost efficient way. It also allows your engineers to work on customer A and customer B, and they know what type of things to expect. So I think that there's still quite some SMEs that think differently, that think that the bottom layer is something very specific to their company, especially if there is some kind of IT manager or IT engineer internally on the payroll. For him or for her, it's their, let's say, play box, it's their Lego box. They want to experiment with things in there and they want to learn. But let's be honest, that's not really something that will help the company move forward and to grow. So for me, this bottom layer needs to be outsourced 100%. The only thing that we as digital coaches keep internally at the SME is the kind of the coaching part. So especially for companies that are 100 or more users, I think that it's very handy to have somebody in-house that can kind of do floor walking and go around with the people and listen to their needs, like, oh, I'm stuck in Excel, how do I do a VLOOKUP? Or, oh, I'm working in OneDrive and how can I sync my files? Or I'm doing a web meeting with Microsoft Teams and I'm not sure how to connect this video conferencing system or how to dial in someone. These kind of little tricks to be more productive, this kind of coaching, this is something that we sometimes keep internally on the payroll, but all other things we do externally. And for smaller companies, even that coaching is fully external. So that actually means that when we outsource everything, the IT partner is playing the role of the IT manager, the IT infrastructure manager, because nobody internally is doing it. Me and my colleagues at Odum, my consultancy agency, what we do is during 3 years, we help a customer with digital transformation and we take the role of internal CIO. So for me, it's really important to count on an IT partner that can take this role of IT infrastructure manager, because me as a CIO, I have certain expectations about IT infrastructure, mainly to make sure that it works well and that it's efficient and that we don't have to spend too much time on it and it's secure. So I just want to be able to kind of talk with the IT manager and make sure that the things are done well, efficiently and correct, without having to micromanage the IT partner all the time. Another trend that I see is that there are a lot of IT infrastructure partners who don't really go the last mile in terms of helping the customer to really make good use of the solutions. Give you an example. I have a customer where I'm a CIO and they did not really have good equipment for their meeting rooms to do video conferencing. All right. So I call their IT infrastructure partner. I explain there are so many rooms, these rooms, we want this, this, and this, and this type of equipment. They make a quote, customer signs, and they install it. Okay. A few weeks later, I go to that customer. It was not COVID times. I joined one of the meetings and we had to call people externally and so on, or actually it was the way around. I was remote and I joined one of the meetings and people sat in the meeting room. What do I notice is that the room has a lot of echo. So there's a lot of glass, a lot of hard surfaces. So it's really difficult for me to hear the voices because there is a lot of echo. So I think, oh, did the IT partner not think about placing acoustic things on the ceiling or on the walls? No, of course not. It's an IT company. They just placed a Polycom or Logitech system, but they didn't treat the room. So yeah, the experience of the meeting is downgraded because the room is not good. Another problem is you have this very good system with a camera that you can move with the remote control and you can zoom in, but nobody uses it. Everybody is just sitting around the table, and now with COVID, with a lot of space between people, and the camera is set to very wide angle, and I'm sitting remotely, and I can see a screen with a big table with people around, but I cannot even see their faces, so small, because it's not zoomed in on the speaker. So these type of systems is not really useful. The audio was good there, but the video not. Nobody explained that you have to zoom on the speaker, and actually nobody uses it because nobody cares. So really thinking about the experience, making sure the right equipment is installed, not only IT equipment, also treating the rooms, making sure other factors are taken into account, and making sure that the people that meet really receive a training, hopefully also a virtual training so they can repeat it when they need it. That you do a few meetings with them remotely and face-to-face so that they use this equipment well. For me, that's not optional. That should be in the package. If the customer just wants you to install something and the rest is their problem, then you're that kind of IT partner who is not in charge of or responsible for. You're just hands and doing what the customer asks. And that's fine if that's the expectation. But my expectation of an IT infrastructure partner is that they are responsible for the infrastructure, making sure it works really well, not just providing what the customer asks. And so there I see a lot of opportunities to make a difference. Another trend that I see is, so IT infrastructure partners, they understand that IT infrastructure is not the only thing that they can provide. When you go to Office 365, there's a lot of tools in there that you can use to help the customers with, let's say, a little bit touching that business application layer. You can use Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, you can use the planner systems and so on to help the customer to work in a bit more efficient way without touching the ERP, but with doing things in between. There is also a danger to that. I'll give you an example. There is a workshop where the IT partner is at the customer and someone from HR is saying, oh yeah, but I lose a lot of time with managing my personnel records, contracts with new people, new hires, the whole process of job interviews and to plan all that. All right. So the IT partner says, great, we can help you with that. We will make a SharePoint site, or we will use Planner and some Kanban, and we will help you organize that flow. Okay, the customer says, great, I'm happy to see that, and okay, a project is started. But then if I hear about that, I say, whoa, what are we doing here? There are super cool and super handy tools in the cloud to do exactly that. For example, you have something like Officient. Officient.io has recently been acquired by, I think, Exact. And Officient is actually going much further because it's a cloud-based tool that connects to the Sociaal Secretariat. And there is a whole interaction there so that the HR person even has less work because everything is automated, and it also has a front end facing, so towards the people working in the company. They have an app and they can ask for holidays, and they can say when they were ill, and there is all kind of interactions there, and the data flows correctly. So it's pointless of organizing HR's departments in SharePoint. That's just pointless. There are tools for that. The same for everything that has to do with finding new people and placing job ads and so on, and making sure people that come and talk with you, and you have first interview, second interview, all these things. There are super cool people, cool cloud tools for that that go much further. So stay away with SharePoint and Office 365 from these type of processes, because there are good tools for that. The problem is that most of the IT partners doing Office 365, they don't know about the other tools, or they don't know so much about the tools. And secondly, they don't sell these tools. They are not expert in these tools. What they sell is Office 365 consultancy and configuration. So obviously they will propose a client to do the things in the tools they know. And that's a really big danger. Every day there are new tools coming out, new tools that are sometimes good, sometimes less good. And in order to advise a customer in their workflows, you need to choose the right tools. And the right tools are not always the tools that you know and that you do as an IT partner. So how do you deal with that? I think that's a very interesting question to think about. Who do you want to be with your customer? The trusted advisor, or the guy who knows a set of tools and always do things with these tools?